So, after the varicella, let's move on naman to the next disease that affects our respiratory system. This one is known as the MERS-CoV or the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome coronavirus. MERS-CoV is a zoonotic virus, meaning it is transmitted between animals and people. Well, MERS-CoV has been identified and linked to human infections in dromedary camels in several member states in the Middle East, Africa, and South America. So, si MERS-CoV, magkaiba siya kay SARS-CoV and SARS-CoV-2 because SARS-CoV is known to be obtained through the bats, while si MERS-CoV is pinaniniwalaan siya na galing siya kay dromedary camels. Okay, so let's go to the next slide, which is the structure of the pathogen. Okay, so MERS-CoV came from the family of coronavirus. Well, coronavirus is categorized into 4 parts: the alpha coronavirus, the beta coronavirus, the gamma coronavirus, and the delta coronavirus. Just like the varicella earlier, si MERS-CoV naman is kagaya lang din ni structures of the pathogen ni varicella. Only, it differs in the part na si varicella ay double-stranded DNA, while si MERS-CoV ay single-stranded DNA. Parehas din sila na naka-envelope in a capsid shell and surrounded by glycoproteins. Same din sila ng process na once na nakapasok na sila sa host cell, is doon na sila mag-open through the capsid shell and they will scatter in the form of replication as well. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide, which is the reported cases up to date. According to a source, from April 2012 up to date, 2,610 laboratory confirmed cases of Middle East Respiratory Syndrome or the MERS were reported globally, with 940 associated deaths at a case fatality ratio of 36%. The majority of these cases were reported from Saudi Arabia with 2,201 cases and 859 related deaths, which has a case fatality ratio of 39%. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide, which is the transmission. MERS-CoV is a zoonotic virus, which means it can be transmitted between animals and people. Studies have shown na ang mga tao ay nai-infect through direct or indirect contact man with an infected dromedary camels. Pero hanggang ngayon is hindi pa rin nila alam kung paano na itra-transmit ng camels yung virus sa mga tao. It is still unclear up until now. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide, which is the causes. So, pinaghihinalaan din ng mga researchers na si MERS-CoV ay nanggaling kay bats, just like the SARS-CoV. Pero, there are evidences kasi na si dromedary camels ang pinanggagalingan ng infection ng MERS-CoV. And according din sa mga researchers is hindi naman talaga ganun kadali na maipasa yung MERS-CoV from humans to humans unless magkakaroon ka ng direct contact doon sa infected na tao. So, up until now kasi, hindi pa rin malinaw sa mga researchers kung paano na-involve ang camel sa pagtra-transmit ng MERS-CoV. Pero, merong models in Middle East, South Asia, and Africa na nakitaan nila na nag-positive sa virus ng MERS-CoV. Okay, so for the next slide, we're going to talk about the symptoms of MERS. So the most common symptoms of MERS are fever, cough, shortness of breath, or dyspnea. Pwede rin silang makaranas ng gastrointestinal problems such as diarrhea, nausea, or vomiting. When it comes to complications naman, one of the most common complications that they can obtain kapag na-infect sila ng MERS is pneumonia. Pwede rin silang magkaroon ng organ failure, which is especially si kidney failure. Ang symptoms naman ni MERS-CoV usually appears after 5 to 6 days after exposure to the virus, and it will took them 2 to 14 days to recover from the virus. So, there are cases of MERS in which they can be asymptomatic, while yung iba naman is yung nararanasan lang nila is minor symptoms. Pero, yung mga person na nai-infect ng MERS-CoV na merong severe symptoms, kailangan nilang pumunta ng hospital for proper ventilation and intensive care. Let's move on to the next slide, which is the diagnosis. So, to check for an active MERS-CoV infection, doctors take sample from the person's respiratory tract. Laboratory tests such as polymerase chain reaction test or the PCR test can confirm the presence of the virus. Diba? Just like the SARS-CoV-2 or the COVID-19, to diagnose if a human is infected by the virus, ginagamitan din ng PCR test just like the MERS-CoV. Scientists can also tell whether a person has previously had a MERS-CoV infection by using blood tests to check for antibodies developed to combat the virus. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide, which is the vaccination. So, according to the World Health Organization's trusted source, there is no cure or vaccine yet for MERS. Pero meron naman silang mga vaccines and treatments under development, pero as of now, wala pa rin talagang nadidevelop na talagang makaka-cure sa MERS-CoV. So, as of now, people with severe symptoms, nire-require na lang sila for oxygen therapy or to stay in the intensive care unit para masupplyan sila ng proper mechanical ventilation to help them breathe. Okay, so for the last slide of this presentation, this should be the before and after results of being infected by the MERS-CoV. But since wala akong mahanap sa internet, let me just discuss to you the complications that can be gained when you got infected by this disease. Okay, so first would be the lung function abnormalities. Second would be the psychological impairment. And the last, which is common in SARS and MERS survivors, the reduced exercise capacity. So, that would be all for my discussion. I hope you learned something, and thank you.
The next disease that we will be discussed today is a diphtheria. So, what is diphtheria? Diphtheria is a highly contagious infectious disease caused by a bacterium. The bacteria releases a toxin that causes a buildup of gray tissue in your throat. So, diphtheria was first discovered in 5th century by Hippocrates, and then Aetius described it as a epidemic. And in 1883, Edwin Phelps first discovered the bacterium of diphtheria, and then in 1884, Frederick Loeffler continued the cultivation of diphtheria to discover more and to discover more about the diphtheria, so there are two main types of diphtheria. First is the classical respiratory diphtheria. It is the most common type of diphtheria, also known as the pharyngeal diphtheria. It may affect the nose, throat, tonsils, or larynx. So the bacteria will release a toxins that will block to your throat na magkukos ng swelling sa lalamunan, and yung patient na mayroon ng classical respiratory diphtheria ay mahihirapan huminga. So next is cutaneous diphtheria. It is the rarest type of diphtheria. It is a skin rash, sores, or blisters that can appear anywhere on your body. Here's the sample picture of the classical respiratory diphtheria. The first picture is the bacteria that causes the toxins, and then the second picture and the third picture are the throat of the patient that has a diphtheria. Now let's talk about the structure of pathogens. So the bacteria that causes diphtheria is the Corynebacterium diphtheriae. It's a non-motile, non-capsulated, club-shaped, gram-positive bacillus. Toxigenic strains are lysogenetic for one of the family of Corynebacteriophages that carry the structural gene for diphtheria toxin tox. So, hindi gumagalaw yung bacteria ng diphtheria. Nakastuck lang siya doon, and then nagre-release lang siya ng toxins na nagkukos ng blockage sa throat. Next, let's talk about the reported cases here in the Philippines. So, last year, January to October 7, 2023, there are 152 reported cases of diphtheria and 33 deaths of it. And then, next reported cases is all about the international. As of January 14, 2024, a total of 27,991 diphtheria suspected cases and 828 deaths have been reported from Nigeria. Among the suspected cases, 18,540 or 62% have been confirmed either by the laboratory testing, epidemiological linkage, or by clinical compatibility. A total of 70% of the suspected cases involved 1 to 14-year-old children, 60% of suspected cases of female, and only 24% of fully vaccinated. These findings underscore the multifaceted of nature of diphtheria outbreak, emphasizing the need for target in inventions. So, base sa report ng international, karamihan ng natatamaan ng diphtheria ay mga bata to teenager lang. So, walang masyadong matatandang mayroong reported cases. So, paano nga ba kumakalat ang diphtheria? So, kumakalat ang diphtheria through airborne droplets that contains the bacteria. Person to person can also transmit the disease through an open sore that touched by someone. So, kapag nag-sneeze yung taong infected, yung bacteria, kakalat siya sa air. Now, the cause. So, the cause of the diphtheria is the Corynebacterium diphtheriae that will adhere to the lining of the respiratory system. The bacteria will generate a toxin that damages the respiratory tissue cells. Next is the symptoms: throat pain, fatigue, fever, swollen neck, glands, difficulty in swallowing. So, dahil nga may blockage, nagkakos siya ng swelling, and then may hirapang lumunok yung infected. Next is the diagnosis. Diagnosis will be based on symptoms and lab tests of the patient. The doctor will take a swab sample from your throat. So, hindi naman ibig sabihin na kapag nakita mo yung sarili mo sa salamin at merong gray tissue na nakita ka dun sa lalamunan mo, meron ka ng diphtheria. So, mas maganda pa rin kumonsulta sa doktor. Hindi yung nagsa-self-diagnose ka dyan. Better trust your doctor than yourself when it comes to this one. So, next is the treatment prevention. Taking antitoxin to stop the damage to organs. So, kapag yung patient, kapag na-confirm na meron siyang diphtheria, yung doktor magpe-prescribe sa'yo ng antitoxin para mapigilan yung pag-block ng bacteria and pag-release ng toxins. So, nagpe-prescribe sila ng antibiotics like penicillin or erythromycin to fight the infection. Next is isolation. Since nakakahawa nga siya, kailangan mong mag-isolate ng 48 hours para hindi na siya kumalat. So, kapag yung infected person is nakaano na siya, naturukan na siya ng antitoxin, hindi na siya contagious ng 48 hours. So, meron din pong available vaccination for diphtheria. So, before and after the treatment, so, in classical respiratory diphtheria, it depends on severity of the disease. So, mostly the patient will have weaker respiratory system versus the patient can survive the diphtheria but she will be paralyzed. So, sinabi dito na nakadepende yung before and after ng result mo sa kung gaano mo kaagang inaksyonan yung sakit mo. So, for example, is kumalat na yung or grabe na yung blockage sa lalamunan mo, saka ka lang nagpa-treatment. So, magkukos yun ng malala. So, if nagpaano ka naman ng maaga, mas konti yung damage na maano sa respiratory system mo. Next is the available vaccines, no? First is the diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis. Second is the tetanus, diphtheria, and pertussis, TD, tetanus, and diphtheria. So, yung available vaccines, no, before, in 1990, hindi siya masyadong ginagamit yung vaccines kasi for diphtheria lang siya. But in 1930, since the United States had a epidemic in 1930, yung government nila is nag-issue na kailangan bawat tao ay magpa-inject ng vaccines for diphtheria. The next disease that we will be discuss is the respiratory syncytial virus. It is a major cause of respiratory illness in children. The virus usually causes a common cold, but sometimes it infects the lungs and breathing passages and can cause breathing problems in infants and young children. So, karamihan ng naapektuhan ng virus na to is yung mga bata since nakukuha din to sa maduming tubig. Next is the structure of pathogens. So, the RSV is a member of the genus Pneumovirus, one of the paramosoviruses in this group with human metapneumovirus and has two antigenically distinct subgroups. Next is the reported cases, no? Sa Philippines, may cases noong August 31, 2022. We have identified 221 RSV cases in the country among our children, and up until now, there is no recorded death from this RSV. So, in the Philippines daw, although may cases tayo noon nung last 2022 pa, pero wala pa rin nare-record na namamatay sa sakit na yun. Now, sa international naman, sa reported cases, no, the RSV season started in week 6, starting in February 5, 2024, when the 3-week moving average of the detection rate in children are 5 years from inpatient pneumonia surveillance in public hospitals remained above 15% for 2 consecutive weeks, with the exception of the COVID-19 pandemic 2020. The disrupted RSV circulation, the detection of rate of RSV for 2024 has risen of a similar rate to the mean circulation of RSV between 2016 to 2019 and 2022, 2023 at the start of RSV season. So, sa ibang bansa, no, taglamig ang February. So, dahil taglamig doon, mas makakapit at mas mabilis kumapit sa iyo yung virus. Next is the transmission. So, kumakalat siya through airborne droplets na naman, person to person, direct contact with infected individual or with contaminated surfaces. So, dito, kahit yung bagay na nahawakan ng infected person ay pag nahawakan din ng ibang tao, magkakaroon din siya ng RSV. Next is the cause. When a child comes into contact with fluid from an infected person's nose or mouth that has a genus pneumovirus, it takes between 2 and 8 days from the time of exposure first for someone to become ill. So, ang sabi po dito, next is the symptoms. No? If your child or the toddler has a stuffy or runny nose, sore throat, mild headache, cough, fever, and loss of appetite, no? Possible na meron na siyang RSV. So, kapag ganito, dapat isugod nyo na siya sa pinakamalapit na hospital para maagapan agad. Next is the diagnosis. The healthcare providers usually diagnose a respiratory virus by taking a medical history and doing an exam. In many kids, they don't need to distinguish RSV infection from a common cold. So, hindi porket may common cold ang isang bata, meron na siyang RSV. So, they will take other medical history, tatanong nila sa'yo kung nagkaroon na ba siya ng RSV noon. But if a child has other health conditions or more serious symptoms, doctors might want to take a specific RSV diagnosis. In that case, they identify the virus by testing nasal fluids, the sample in collected either with cotton swab or by suction through a valve syringe. So, the treatment, most cases of respiratory syncytial virus infection are mild and don't need medical treatment. Antibiotics aren't used because RSV is a virus. Antibiotics work only against bacteria. So, ang sabi dito, hindi naman siya sobrang lala sa ibang bata since ano lang siya, parang common cold. So, RSV infection can be more serious in babies and toddlers. So, some might need treatment in hospital where they can be watched closely and get supportive treatment for any breathing problems or dehydration. So, kapag may RSV po yung bata, even though hindi naman siya masyadong malala at first, no, kailangan nyo pa rin siyang dalhin sa hospital kasi nga, pwede po siyang lumala. Sa hospital po kasi, mawawatch siya ng doktor, may mga magra-rounds, and then, para maagapan din po siya kaagad. So, the prevention is the proper hygiene and vaccination. So, usually, may vaccination po para sa mga pregnant women na para maiwasan yung RSV para sa mga anak nila. And meron ding vaccines na naglilibot yung mga barangay. Before and after results, no, may depend on severity before the treatment. So, some patients who had this disease can have weaker respiratory system prone to having asthma and pneumonia. So, yung mga baby na hindi agad naagapan ng RSV, no, magkakaroon sila ng weaker respiratory system. Tapos, mas mabilis sila magkakaroon ng asthma and pneumonia. So, the available vaccines are the GSK adjuvanted RSV vaccine or Abru-Cyvoc, Pfizer, RSV.
Good morning, everyone. So, in my part, I'm going to report about COVID-19 and tuberculosis. And first is COVID-19. We all know that COVID-19 caused a lot of damage, affected area, and a lot of people affected, and not just also our health affected, but also even our business, our livelihood, our daily routine, and etc. A lot of things affected when COVID-19 enters in our life. So, when we say COVID-19 also called as the coronavirus disease 2019. It is an illness caused by a virus, and this virus is called the severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2, coronavirus second version corona 2, and more commonly known as the SARS-CoV-2, and it is spreading at the end of 2019. So before 2019 ended, um, it is where the COVID-19 enter, and it became pandemic when 2020 started. So next is the structure of the pathogen. So as you can see, the structure of the pathogen, this virus contains spike-like projection. As you can see in the image presented here, is there's a light spike, and that spike name is spike glycoprotein. Spike-like projection of glycoproteins on their surface, which appear like a crown under the electron microscope. Hence, they are referred to coronavirus. They called it coronavirus because after they saw under the electron microscope, it looks like a crown. So that's why they call it corona or crown coronavirus. Next is the Philippine reported cases up to date. And here in the Philippines, the reported coronavirus cases is about 4,140,383. So the death case is 66,864, and 4,067,381 is the recovered patient, or the recovered cases only. So next, we're going to transmission, how COVID-19 transmit, how COVID-19 spread, how COVID-19 transfer to another, and how they spread. So through this transmission, the COVID-19 virus spreads through coughing. When we cough, we sneeze, and talking, singing, and even through regular breathing. So this virus is spread through the through, just like the example, coughing, sneezing, talking, singing, and even and after that, when you cough, through the air and tiny droplets of the fluid that splatter and between people in the close contact, or the person to person contact. That's how coronavirus is spread. For example, when you are talking to someone and then your saliva splatter to the other person or to your friend that you are talking, and that's how COVID-19 or the virus is spread. So next is the causes of COVID-19, and how is it caused, how COVID-19 caused. And COVID-19 is caused by infection with a coronavirus named SARS, or the severe acute respiratory syndrome, coronavirus 2, and influ is caused by infection with influenza virus. That's COVID-19. Next is the different symptoms and how we know that we are infected by this virus. This is the common symptoms that we encounter, and in order for us to know if we are got infected of this kind of virus. First is we have fever, chills. So when we feel those kinds of symptoms, we can say that we are infected or we are positive from COVID-19. We can say also that if we have a headache, we can taste or we can smell properly, we can breathe properly, and also difficulty from sleeping, and if we have a diarrhea. Those are the common symptoms in order for us to know that we are got infected or we are positive from the virus of COVID-19. Next is the diagnosis. Diagnosis of COVID-19. There's the different ways to know if we are positive from COVID-19. In COVID-19, we have two types or two ways of tests that we can help to diagnose COVID-19. First is the and molecular test. This test looks for genetic material from the COVID-19 virus. Polymerase chain reaction test, or shortened up PCR. And this method uses a sample of a blood or other body fluid from our body. If through this to check if there is a sign of disease or condition. Next is the antigen. The next test is the antigen test. This looks for a viral proteins called antigen. Antigen test also may be called a rapid test, COVID-19 test, or a at home COVID-19 test. These are the tests are useful if you need a quick result. Here at antigen test, it is that's why they called it rapid test, because you can get the result immediately. You can wait days, months, but here in antigen you can get the result within around 20, more or less 20 minutes. That's why they call it rapid test. Unlike the PCR, or like the molecular test, PRC, to get the result, it takes a few days. So it is much longer, but the advantage of using the molecular test, it is more accurate than the antigen test, because the antigen test you can 50-50, you can get positive or negative. So it is much better to use molecular test than antigen test. But if you are in rush to get the result, you can use the antigen test. Next is the prevention treatment. Here's the different things in order for us to prevent the COVID-19, to prevent ourselves from getting infected of this kind of virus. There are a lot of ways in order to prevent from getting infected of this kind of virus. As you can see, the PowerPoint presented here, the different ways you can read. There's a lot of example here, and for the summary, all we need to do to prevent COVID-19 is first of all, syempre, we need to get a shot of vaccine. Next is we need to take a plenty of rest, drink a lot of water, wash our hand properly. Also, when we are coughing or sneezing, we need to cover it. So those are the example to prevent the COVID-19, to prevent getting infected of this kind of virus. Next is the available vaccination. This virus, there's a lot of vaccine presented in our government. Just like here in the Philippines, they use a lot of vaccine. First is the Novavax, Pfizer, Moderna, Sputnik, Johnson & Johnson, and AstraZeneca. Those are the vaccine that used to fight against this kind of virus, in order for us to protect against the COVID-19. So